Team Freedom exceptionally playing a double support style of composition in both games 1 and 2 to get a 2-0 victory so far over SpaceStation Gaming. Now it's up SpaceStation to start the reverse sweep, something that happened to SpaceStation yesterday with Superstars.
Yeah, we'll see if it's another reverse sweep. That would be crazy, wouldn't it?
That'd be awesome.
Just the weekend of reverse sweeps all across the board. But no, I mean, Team Freedom is looking real good, and I'm not sure if they're going to be able to be stopped on this run.
Yeah, we know that it's part of it's drafting SpaceStation, maybe not realizing that it was going to be this double support heavy, trying to make the necessary adaptations. If SpaceStation can do that in time, we'll see where Battleground 3 takes us. If SpaceStation's going to choose a different battleground, looks like no. SpaceStation is going to give up, or just make sure that they have first pick. Freedom taking us to Towers of Doom.
You know, Team Freedom, this is their kind of map. They're going to be able to split up. They're going to be able to have those multi-front fights against SpaceStation Gaming where they're fighting for one temple at bottom, one on the top, and that's exactly where they thrive, when they can split up the enemy team and make those separate little brawls happen.
Team Freedom loves Towers of Doom. After Sky, it is their second favorite battleground. Yesterday, they played Stitch's Medivh.
Towers of Doom is a unique...
And had a little bit the sweet sounds
Thanks,
of Kevin Cloakin Johnson.
We know how this map works. Thank you, Cloakin.
Just in case you forgot, there he was. Cloakin can give you all the info. Now, Freedom liked the Medivh Stitches strategy, but even in death, we're able to poke some holes in that. Looks like SpaceStation, though, just does not want to deal with that.
They're not dealing with it. They're just saying, you know what? Medivh, permaban. We're not having any of that at all. Not even against like Glaurung or something. You know, they're just banning it across the board now. They're not having any of that. So it's going to be ETC banned out from Team Freedom, who stands at a 2-game lead at the moment, looking to close this one out. So far, SpaceStation has started, I think, every draft with Tassadar.
Unfortunately for them, the series has not been going as planned, even with that pivotal pick. So
yeah.
The ticking down of the time, they're at least considering if they need to pick something different than that. But that is true. They've been tasked every single first slot, whether they're in first pick or second pick. They are going to switch it up, though, KO.
Yeah, they've decided to go with Dahaka, who's very good and thrives on this map because you can tunnel around and get from one fight to another, cap one shrine on the top, and then jump all the way down to bottom, which is commonly a scenario that we see. So with one global being picked up for SpaceStation Gaming, ooh, Abathur Genji. Oh, this is such a fun combo to watch. Team Freedom looking to be aggressive, looking to make plays, and capitalize even more on the fact that because SpaceStation has globals, they'll be split. So now you have a Genji who can run around and assassinate those split targets, and when there's nobody to punish him with the CC, he's going to get kills.
Yeah, Genji, if it's Cure, it's been more Dansky. It does seem like they fully switched Freedom to having Dansky play Genji. His Genji is a lot like his Medivh, guys. Pretty scary. Dansky all around. But now you have got a double Genji possibly in team fights. Freedom are setting up to do what they already like to do, which is fight very well with those two picks.
Yeah, so SpaceStation Gaming here again. They're poised with the possible Tassadar. See if they go for it. They do have the Vala Ariel, though, going with the pink synergy there. Very cool. They're going to have plenty of damage and sustain to deal with these team fights, and just Dahaka can be their one little split if they decide to go that route. And with Ariel, they can also opt for the double support that we were talking about beforehand.
Yeah, I wonder if they will still get another support and then have Dahaka plus a secondary warrior for Casanova, or if they'll leave it just at the Vala Ariel. But now we've got a ban from Team Freedom. If there is a secondary support they really don't want to deal with, along with SpaceStation, maybe a Brightwing for more globals, more global potential for SpaceStation, maybe that's the route they're going to choose.
I think you just want to see Brightwing again. You're just on the Brightwing hype train. It's understandable.
Who doesn't, right? Except Kaldor. Who doesn't?
Yeah. Kaldor hates all the cute, friendly characters. He just likes the smarks. But let's see, Team Freedom here, they're going to have their ban opportunity. What is it going to be? Like you were saying, they could take out one of those supports, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Goodbye, Uther.
I thought they would want that one.
I mean, they do have the Genji. It would be nice to have that Divine Shield to keep him alive, because we know Genji's going to need healing.
But not having the Uther, I forgot it was Collusion too, his favorite support. They've got Rhaegar back, and then Muradin coming back into the game. Muradin will be able to give some more damage. We saw Perfect Storm before. Later on, you can give him the Axe. That'll be nice with an Abathur Hat too. Muradin with Abathur Hat a good warrior to have along with that.
You know, one big theme that I see from the Team Freedom composition right now is that they have great dive. I mean, they're going to have Genji dash into the back line. Murden jumps in while he has the lightning shield on to get on targets as well. Plus, the Abathur hat's going to be, of course, on a target that's in the back line. Then you've got Rhaegar, who excels at jumping into the enemy team as well. And I mean, altogether, I feel like thematically they nailed it. They have a clear goal as to what their team wants to do. SpaceStation right now maybe needs to identify what they want to do, because what it looks like is developing to me is a team where they're going to have a strong 4-man together, and then they're going to have one nice split solo laner. But that means they need to pick up another front line for that main 4 composition or another support.
They get Lily as a second support.
I think.
And Tyrael.
What? Tyrael and Lily, okay.
So, well, Lily will be...
blinding all of those Abathur slaps.
Yeah. All right. Lily played by Team Freedom yesterday, so there is clearly a Lily infection going on in North America right now.
The Lily virus is spread.
Yes.
Well, one last pick remains for Team Freedom. It's got to be some kind of a dive here. Or they could go for another, dare I say, support.
You could dare say that. I don't think so. I think this is going to be a Cure hero. And I don't see Cure playing a support. I'm just wondering what, Illidan, but now with Lily, I think that's why we saw Lily, right, is trying to dissuade that along with the Genji, because otherwise that'd be the perfect dive hero.
Yeah,
Pretty
very
sure
true.
Freedom's even played that comp before, but this is giving them pause. The first Freedom Malthael emerges.
How did Malthael not come to mind? I'm disappointed in myself because right now SpaceStation Gaming, they have the 2 big tanks. Tyrael, sure, he's not a high health character necessarily like compared to the other warriors, but with the Dahaka and the Tyrael, he's going to get so much value out of shredding those down. And nobody yells dive more than a Malthael, right?
Oh yeah, he wants to just get into a clumped situation, maybe through a choke by the sappers, hit everyone with tormented souls, and then wreak havoc. And then he sets up nicely as he brings all those health bars down for a Dragon Blade. Or even a couple of Genjis. It is a great composition for Team Freedom. I didn't suggest Malthael because we haven't seen Freedom play Malthael yet, but I'm excited to see how this works because it's obvious that Freedom have been holding off on Malthael for a while, whether it's what they were still getting more comfortable with him or maybe they just didn't feel like they were forced into him yet.
Yeah, are you nervous about that at all? Do you think it's going to actually like bite them in the back a little bit, playing a character that they maybe aren't as familiar with, and this could be the beginning of the reverse sweep?
Well, the Leoric yesterday did get picked off quite a lot, and that was kind of a new hero that was brought in, and Team Freedom in the past has had issues with being sort of stale in their drafting, but I don't think so. It's a melee assassin, which seems to fit them very well, Team Freedom, that would want to continue fighting, and because of how much Genji they play and the setup that Malthael provides, I think it'll be pretty good. I'm excited to see how it works out for Freedom. Let's see if this can give Freedom a 3-0 or if the reverse sweep starts here with the Lily.
Can SpaceStation survive the dive? We find out now. On the left, Team Freedom, Killusion on the Rhaegar, Zugrug on Muradin. We're going to have Cure playing the Angel of Death, Malthael. Dansky on Genji with the cleanup, and Nasmus is going to be AFK in base on Abathur.
And their opponents in the red yet to win a game in this series. It's SpaceStation Gaming, Tiger JK playing Panda, Lily. Jason will be playing that Vala. Casanova switching over to the Dahaka. We've got Talking Trees playing Aura, which means I think it's Equinox playing Tyrael. I missed that.
Yeah, I think you are right on that, but we do know that actually it is going to be Jason? No, it is going to be Equinox on the Tyrael. Okay. I saw their wings there. The red wings looking fierce. They've got a lot of winged members on their team, actually.
All the Angels are in the game right now. How interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Sanctification is going to be a big deal when the dive comes in. The Dragon Blade, the Tormented Souls for Tyrael, and the timing of that for the team.
A lot of trade there. Going out onto Zugrug, who is going to hop, skip, and get himself down. Next to Killusion in bottom lane. Tiger JK not afraid to run up and drop some of those wins onto Team Freedom. So in these rotations, SpaceStation is going to have a pretty solid advantage, right? Because of that sustain advantage that they have with the double healer. Anytime that they're trading damage, they're going to come out on top.
Yeah, it's up to Team Freedom to try to use what they have to get quick kills as fast as they can, but that's not going to be easy for them because of things like Sanctification, Crystal Aegis too, and I'm almost seeing a reversal as Jason goes down and First Blood is claimed by Team Freedom. It's almost seeming like a reversal of comps from the last 2 games. It was Team Freedom who had Vala and SpaceStation putting a lot of effort into trying to execute her quickly in the fights or the double support, continue to heal them up. Now it's SpaceStation who will be trying to make that happen.
Yeah, we see how it's working out so far. SpaceStation's volley gets popped right there in the beginning. Is going to give up First Blood, but now let's see if they can compose and make something happen. The first towers are going to be spawning here quite soon. Trees sitting at a full health bar. It seems like every time we have eyes on Zugrug, he's at like 50% health, which means he's doing his job. That's what Burden should be doing, making use of that passive regen. So the triple bell towers, here we go, 25 seconds. It's going to be SpaceStation and Team Freedom both picking up their sappers and running them through the bottom lane here. The main clash is going to be at bottom lane. We'll see how the rest of Team Freedom decides to split up and pressure the rest of the map and do damage to those globals.
There are 3 members of SpaceStation down in the bottom, but Team Freedom has Malthael and Genji up for the top. How much they want to contest that top remains to be seen, but with both Tyrael and Dahaka, both will claim their safe altars, and it puts SpaceStation in the lead because they were also able to get bottom. Team Freedom, understanding of the situation that they sort of are a man down right now before 10, before they have ultimate evolution for their Abathur, are keen and okay just to give up 2 of the altars there and just make sure that they're keeping up in the experience as best they can until that they can get to the heroic ability stage.
I really like this decision from SpaceStation Gaming where they're just saying, you know what, we're going to take our 3-man and we're going to shove bottom as hard as we can. Make sure they try and get this fort down bottom to get them that big advantage early on because of the fact that you were just talking about where Team Freedom, it's kind of like they're down a member until they can start cloning and making that extra person for the team fights. Now Equinox comes in just at the right time to secure this. The rest of Team Freedom is starting to make their way down. I mean, Dansky is here now, throwing out those shurikens, seeing if he can get any poke, look for another opportunity to kill Jason, and Cure just demolishing this top lane.
Yeah, he's doing well in the matchup with Dahaka, as Malthael should be. Gives us a good indication that Cure understands Malthael and his first HGC Malthael game. But I also love seeing that SpaceStation is willing to push in the bottom lane, because that is what this type of composition can do with the double support, the Vala Ariel together. You should be able to siege down as a 3-man, and that SpaceStation has that understanding, shows us that they have had some experience in this double support composition, as well as versus the Abathur composition that they're playing with Freedom, even going in and stealing away the sappers.
Yeah, they're starting to make those aggressive plays. They are using the advantage window that they know they have, which is really nice to see. If they can get this forward bottom, that would be a huge advantage leading into the second bell tower phase. And we'll see. Zugrug starting to take that poke as usual. The sappers are going in and the rest of the wave soon to follow, but now Mule has come into play. And all of a sudden, Team Freedom can just sit back, heal that up. They're not any threat anymore.
So Mule not only allows Freedom to keep their structures safe versus the sappers, versus the pressure of SpaceStation, but later on, if Team Freedom is able to drag out fights around altars and then be able to steal some bell towers, they can even heal it up and make it harder for SpaceStation to ever claim back their bell towers. So it's almost like a toppling effect, a Jenga effect on Towers of Doom, that if they start to get a lot of these bell towers low and then win a team fight handily and take a bunch at once, it'll be very difficult for SpaceStation to try to bring it back.
Yeah, but for now, SpaceStation, I mean, they are finding the opportunities. They aren't making many mistakes, too, which is great. They are, you know, they're splitting well. They're doing what they need to do. Top has got me a little bit nervous. I mean, we do see Dahaka starting to fall up there, but at the same time, here at bottom, the push has been really effective. Even with Mule being on the field, they're going to commit to this. They need to finish this off right now, and they are going to be able to finish this bottom fort. But there's mayhem going off across the map.
In the mid, Genji took down Tyrael, but Tyrael got the last laugh as he took down Genji too. The 1-for-1 trade there. SpaceStation still favored in that, though, because they also got the fort in the bottom lane. And that takes away one of the bell towers of Team Freedom, slowing down Freedom, even as Freedom are just trying to do their best to hold on until the heroics. SpaceStation is doing exactly what they need to do versus Abathur. They've got Dahaka, who's been keeping the top alive, even against the threat of Malthael, and they're just about to get heroic abilities.
Heroics will be the big sign of what's to come in this match. I mean, Team Freedom, they're going to look to explode back out onto the battlefield and actually find some team fights, and it's their turn to make something happen. The ball is in their court. But for right now, a bit of a scary moment here. Space Station does have level 10, and these sappers are very close to walking into no man's land.
Space Station are there, but will they try to get into a full fight with these Heroics? Can they? With all of Freedom hiding behind that kill zone line, Dansky starts to move forward with a Swift Strike doing the damage. Heroics still waiting for Abathur, but I don't think yet it would be anything other than Ultimate Evolution. So standard Heroics across the board, strafe over the Rain of Vengeance this time. Casanova's been caught. He will burrow, and he even used Isolation, but can't get away from this one.
Yeah, he got locked down there, and that's exactly what we were talking about, where Team Freedom, they have to punish that global. They have to find whenever Dahaka is split and vulnerable and make it happen. Look at that. Dansky gets whipped into the wall, but that's just going to prompt the clone from Nasmus, who is having a lot of fun there with the deflects. The Torment of Souls coming out as Cure is deciding whether he wants to commit to this fight or not. Now starting to back up a little bit. Ancestral goes on to the real Dansky, who is cleaning up as much as he can. Those targets are starting to get very, very close to reset range, Gilly.
Brilliant counter-engage from Space Station. They used Jug of 1,000 Cups and Sanctification in the exact way they needed to deal with the onslaught of Tormented Souls, Dragon Blade, and the double Genji. Team Freedom are maybe going to have to space out those abilities a little bit more, or try to poke around, see if they can force some of those to come down, maybe even force something like a Sanctification or Jug of 1,000 Cups and make it to where they don't have all of those at once before the real initiation, because Crystal Aegis wasn't even used in that. That's not everything that Space Station can do to survive what Team Freedom have to offer.
Well, it's a game of using your defensives perfectly, right? That's what they have to do against this Team Freedom comp that can so easily finish off targets and get the kills that they need to. Space Station Gaming has to be perfect mechanically in these fights if they're going to look to survive. But once they survive the initial burst, they should be fine. And these sappers, again, pressuring into bottom. This time, Team Freedom will have the answer. They're not quite as afraid to defend this fort now that they have their heroics. Couple of the pumpkins walking on through. Dansky getting a little aggressive here. This could be the fight. Cleanse already used. Jason gonna just throw out the strafe there to get a little bit of poke on everybody. Space created.
Create space for Mule to heal back up this bell tower. Abathur during the last altar phase was in the top lane trying to push down that bell tower so that Team Freedom, this is about the time when they should be starting to claim bell towers, getting back out in the battleground. They don't want to be just defending their own bell tower at this point. They want to be getting out, getting aggression in, and taking bell towers so that Space Station is always at a disadvantage when we start to get to the altar phases. We're at 22 to 33. Space Station has an 11 core health advantage, and this is the time when Team Freedom has to start making moves to turn that back around.
Yeah, it seems like Space Station has started finding the answer here, but this 13 advantage is a really bad time for Space Station to try and take this fight. Zugrug did get the positioning. That Thunderclap slowing down so many members. The Stormbolt coming out connects, but Space Station scurries behind the wall. Oh, Equinox, be careful. Starting to walk out of there, kind of seeing what he can do with his Aldruin, but unfortunately, it's going to be a clean disengage. So down at bottom, this should go to Team Freedom. Like, unless Space Station can jump in there and get the interrupt just in time, but they're still trying to just heal and recover from the big burst of that last fight. Wait a second. Yeah, Dahaka burrows in. Casanova throws out the isolation already, but he's falling very low. Crystal Aegis, Zugrug's positioning is insane right now, but it's going to be the Sanctification keeping everybody alive for a few more seconds, and Cure doing work in that team fight.
Yeah, the Tormented Souls on a lot of members of Space Station. With both the double support, Space Station lives, only losing to Dahaka because he was so separated from the rest of the team, and Sanctification came out too late to save his life. But that was way better for Team Freedom to get control in the team fight. They only used Dragon Blade before, and they didn't force out any cooldowns with that like they were hoping, but because everyone was so low, Space Station were late to the fight, the zoning was good, and then Dahaka, feeling pressured to try to stop that altar, came in and Freedom brought him down.
Well, the pressure is on, and Space Station finally finding themselves getting answered to a little bit here. Team Freedom is executing their plan perfectly here. The team fight is just proving to be a little bit too much. for Space Station to deal with, and another tussle going on here as Equinox is controlling the point at the moment. Jason jumps in, getting a lot of damage there with the clone, and the real Nasmus comes in for the reset. Actually, Nasmus is the one that's the clone. This is so confusing. Dansky is the real Genji here, doing as much as he can to clean up on Casanova. Equinox is going to fall as well, and this should be a 3-for-0 trade.
Oh man, this double Genji is gross from Team Freedom. It was cool though, Nasmus did seem to be, he was playing Genji so well, obviously, that it was enough of an issue for Space Station, but then it allowed Dansky, who was fairly low on health, not to come in until he could get the resets. He got isolated immediately after that too, so there was some concern about him getting back in, but Nasmus still able to fill his shoes well. Team Freedom wins another team fight. They're taking down bell towers in the way that we knew would be possible once this Abathur started doing more, and now that's a bell tower that he can stall out potentially with a mule, and things get rough, KO, because we're at the 5th altar phase. This is 3 altars up and a 16-13 advantage for Freedom.
See if Team Freedom gets ultra aggressive here. I mean, since they're 16, they could sort of afford to. Is Kira going to take it? Is he going to jump in? Nope. Tiger JK is going to be able to cap, and at least SpaceStation Gaming puts a tourniquet on the bleeding here and are able to stop one of the shots, but now it's actually Space Station that tries to get aggressive here, which is very surprising considering their situation. A beautiful sync there is going to prevent a lot of the damage, but as soon as that sanctification goes down, everybody just starts getting destroyed. Their souls are just being sucked out of their bodies. This is just a nightmare for Space Station.
Jugs and Sanctification used pretty early in that fight, so you knew unless Space Station could get back and leave, the grouping and the 2 egress points running away from Team Freedom was going to be a rough place for Space Station, and Team Freedom used that to their advantage. They already have 1 battle tower. They're working on claiming the rest of the battleground. 5 more shots to the core of Space Station, and Team Freedom, for the first time, takes a lead in core health.
Well, the game is looking very, very dire for Space Station. And, of course, with their series on the line here, I mean, they're going to need a miracle to come back right now in this game. If they can get 16, maybe find a fight into level 18 or 19 Team Freedom, then there is some potential. Equinox has been getting some great sanctifications. To give them some credit on that, I mean, the team fights, you know, are showing some potential. But overall, it just seems like Jason on Vala gets destroyed as soon as those sanctifications go down. As soon as those defensives aren't there, he has nowhere to run from a double Genji.
I think when I write down my notes for the series, it's all going to be just protect the Vala. Wherever Vala is, that's who needed to give the protecting
just
to the team.
Use everything on Vala and underline that 10 times.
And hope she lives through that, and then she can wreck face after the fact. 16 is here now for Space Station. Team Freedom were trying to get an escort of sappers in, Sapper Brigade. There's another one coming up soon, but at least here Space Station got 16 just before that, and they could defend.
I like the term Sapper Brigade. That's a good way to put it.
Thanks.
I don't know whether they call them pumpkins or do the Caldor Zappas thing. You know, it's just, there's so many names for these pumpkins, it's tough to do. But Holy Ground is keeping out whatever they are for now. Equinox doing a good job defending these crucial 15 last bits of core health that they do still have. And they got that 16 to 18 scenario. This is their chance to shine and make something happen. They can stay down here, but they got to be careful not to stay down here for too long. They have to be grouped when they take this fight up atop.
Yeah, it does kind of come down to this because they have 16, but Team Freedom is quickly approaching 19. There's another altar activation phase, but most of Space Station is down in the bottom. Genji is headed up. Space Station's relying on potentially Dahaka to try to stall things out, but with Genji already showing up at the top, Space Station just can't stay. They're going to have to take a cut in the number of shots that they get, and Genji...
That was good. It's actually very heads up that he jumped out immediately because he would have gotten very chunked very quickly. But the interrupt is there, which is also good for Space Station, so they're going to prevent some of those shots. So now we find ourselves looking at a 10 to 16 race at the moment. And with the boss coming up pretty soon again, it's going to force the issue here for Space Station into a level 20 Team Freedom. Yeah,
Dahaka's got his work cut out for him trying to deal with wherever Abathur is pushing and deal with that so that the rest of the team...
I would see the flank right now if I'm Dahaka and I'm Space Station Gaming. Now is your time to take the fight. He needs to tunnel in and make something happen, and it looks like that's exactly what he's going to do. Have they waited too long? They're grouping nicely here. Tree's getting lots of value out of Ariel at the moment, and if they can kill this clone early on in the fight, it'll be huge. The clone is already eliminated, and Team Freedom is kind of on Space Station side of the map. However, they do control that bottom fort, so they're safe to retreat into that for now. But I like the way Space Station is trying to make something happen here. They just don't have the aggression to chase.
Yeah, the bell tower is also owned by Team Freedom. That's another. There's a way for Team Freedom to retreat quick or closely to them and still hang out around this bell tower, but forcing Avatar, getting rid of Clone, those were all really good things for Space Station to do, but they can't let up yet. Freedom are still very close to 20, and this is the chance for Space Station to turn the game around. Yeah,
Space Station actually has everything up, don't they? Every single heroic they have to their disposal right now, and Murden is not going to be able to pop that Avatar. But that time window is very rapidly closing. Team Freedom just a sliver away now from getting 20s. And once that 20 door closes, I think it's going to be good night for Space Station.
Yeah, it's 16 to 10, only 10 left, and already holding on to 5 shots for the next Ultra Phase. Things grow dim for Space Station in Game 3. They have to win this game to continue on in the series. Equinox caught Zagrug, keeping track of where Eldruin was. This forces Crystal Aegis to be used. Stormball immediately afterwards. Zagrug is on fire.
And Team Freedom there eating up a lot of the defensives. Crystal Aegis and Jugs down now for this last crucial fight. Space Station, I mean, if they can pull off the miracle, now's the time to do it. Otherwise, this one's going to be going home to Team Freedom. See what they can do. 5 seconds until the ultras activate. Team Freedom making sure they just don't make a mistake here, because if they don't screw this up, they win the game. Cure jumps right in, hits the perfect amount of targets there with the Torment of Souls. Back away for a few seconds while Sanctification is going in. The clone did die, but now Team Freedom, they can re-engage and win this fight.
Yeah, there's nothing left for defensive, so it's all or nothing for Space Station in this fight to stop Team Freedom from winning the series. Everyone falling, but Malthael is the first to go down. Immediately uses No One Can Stop Death, but it'll take a while to get back. Dahaka goes down. Tyrael is dead. The slashing of Dansky is far too much. He wipes Space Station, and Team Freedom will 3-0 Space Station Gaming.
That had to be disheartening too, because Space Station, they fought their hearts out. They get the kill finally on Malthael, and then just immediately Malthael is returned. It's like, well, why did we even try there?
Darn it, No One Can Stop Death.
Death is just too good, man.
Every time. I feel like every time I see No One Can Stop Death get popped that fast too, it's always Tower of Subdoom. I guess it's the tunnel. You're like, okay, I can just get right back into the fight. And it always happens if the fight is right around that altar.
Yeah, I mean, you got to pop it right away, right, to get the value out of it. So it makes sense, but Towers of Doom, the tunnel is OP.
That it is. So are the Brigades of Sappers, and so is Team Freedom with a 3-0 win. I've got a little stat for you, KO. They lost 4 games for all of Part 2 so far. They've lost 3 to Roll20. They got 0-3 by Roll20, and then 1 game to Gale Force. And other than that, no one seems to be able to take a game.
Roll20 is everybody's kryptonite. So I was gonna say that, and then I'm like, wait a second, that doesn't count because Roll20 is just better than everyone.
They're the kryptonite. They also faced Freedom right at the beginning of the part. So for Freedom, they were still kind of coming back from the Western Clash, figuring things out, what the new meta is going to be. And Roll20 showed up and were like, have you heard of this new hero, Garrosh? It's pretty good.
Just tossing people behind forts and everything. And people are like, oh, I guess you can do that. And he's really good. So, yeah, Roll20. They figured out Garrosh early, made them pretty much unstoppable.
Yep.
They're dominating.
They do play Gale Force tomorrow. I'm really excited to see that.
Oh, that's going to be a great matchup.
It is going to be.
That's going to be the true test. Can Gale Force like come back in a big way? Well, there's their opportunity.
It will be. Let's check in with Nasmus now from Team Freedom. Hey, Nasmus, congratulations. Another 3-0 win for you guys. You guys have got to be feeling good this weekend.
Oh, yeah, we're really feeling good after these 2 trios. That put us in a really good position for top 2 and potentially for top 1, maybe even.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, so I've got to ask, because you guys have just all of a sudden shown up and been like, hello, we are a double support team. When did this come about for you guys? Have you just been hiding it for a long time until this weekend, or did it come about with the latest patch?
No, we kind of had a change in how we draft. We have a different person like having the last word. We always do a team draft, but the previous person, which was me, was really against double support, and then came out that it's pretty good. Kira has been doing super good on being the last word, so shout out to him, by the way. Yeah, that's about why we started doing double support.
Awesome. Well, it's working out really well for you guys. Good job, KO. Do you have any questions for Nasmus?
Well, Nasmus, I just want to say great games, very well played. In that last game on Towers of Doom, you guys ran the Abathur with a very aggressive dive composition. Was that sort of your goal to like build this composition that could just get in there and get kills and everybody sort of synergize with the dive?
Yeah, from the very beginning, like we warmed up planning that that's where we want to go in. We thought they would ban the Medivh, obviously, so we were thinking that's the one thing that can stop really dive heavy comp. So we were going to go for an ABBA like all-in comp, like you said.
Cool, makes a lot of sense. Thanks.
Nasmus, you guys have lost 4 games in part 2. You had the series versus Roll20. We don't have to talk about that. 1 game to Gale Force. Are you going to lose any games to Tempo Storm next week?
Hopefully not. They're good opponents, so we're going to respect them as any other opponents. But if we go trio, I think we have a really high chance of going #1, and that's what we want. So BlizzCon, #1, that's the jackpot.
Nice.
Yeah, that'd just be insane growth for you guys this year. It has been a treat to see how much you guys have improved and grown. So thank you on the behalf of the caster desk. Shout outs, time is now.
Shout out,
I don't know.
Speaking of growth, thanks to our coach Eder that has been helping on this for sure. For the team also, to being such a good, joyful team. We're always a good team together. And shout out to the Twitch chat as per usual. You guys got memes. And yeah, shout out also to everybody in yearly grinding with us. Love it. And Team Freedom.
Awesome. Thanks, Nasmus. Congrats again.
What a guy.
I know.
Joyful team. That's how he described it.
That has got to be. We know that the environment of Team Freedom is very good, that they have this good atmosphere of growth and positivity even when they are having hard times, but that's got to be such a contributing factor to why they are potentially #1 in North America.
It seems like they have a lot of fun when they play. You can just kind of tell. And I'm a little surprised to hear him describe their team as like joyful and everything. I mean, when I interact with Cure, usually Cure is very serious. He's just a dude who like emits focused, right? You're just like, geez, you're like in your own world. But he's also a really cool guy. And, you know, it's just cool that like these guys all sort of come out of their shell when they're hanging out together, playing the game, getting better, obviously improving a lot. And it shows.
Yeah, it has. Team Freedom, 2 victories this weekend. We're not done, though. Commercial time is now. And after we have the commercial, we'll have our next match, Lag Force versus Gale Force. Stick with us.